What up, y'all? I am back for another video. Sorry, I've been busy with stuff the last few days. So, the plan is today I'm gonna do this video, Constantine, and then tomorrow I'm gonna do Jackie Chan's Dress to Kill. I'm gonna do the other police story movies maybe another time. I've been putting it off too long, so I'm just gonna put it off even longer. And then Tuesday, I'm gonna rank all the Tarantino films. And then Wednesday will be the first. I'm gonna be doing the first Bill and Ted, and then Thursday, since I gotta say this really quick. R.I.P. Ivan Reitman, since he died last week, and I think it's time anyway. I'm gonna review the Ghostbusters trilogy. So I'll be doing one on Thursday, and then Friday will be two, and then Saturday, if I can get it in, Saturday or Sunday, I'll do Afterlife. So that's my schedule this week. But right now, I am going to review Constantine. But before I do that, on Friday I watched the new Uncharted, and I just didn't want to do a whole video on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a mini, like a quick kind of review of it. So this movie, it's not good. I break it down in two ways. If you are an Uncharted fan, or even like a casual fan like me, it is not good. Tom Holland was just Tom Holland. He felt like a kid. And yeah, Sully was always like a father figure to him, but in this, Sully felt like his babysitter almost. Like a dad babysitting like his kid. That's what it felt like to me. Like their relationship never felt like that. Yeah, he was a mentor, but they still had that like almost like friendship still. You know, where they're like on equal footing. It doesn't feel like Nathan's just lagging his dad around. Like it just with this, it just felt like Mark Wahlberg might as well have been his dad, like, and babysitting him. It was just, I couldn't take it seriously. Antonio Banderas, you could tell, phoned it in. Like I have a feeling this is just me. I have a feeling he legit didn't like the script or just didn't care for it. And it was just, all right, I'm just giving my money. I'll just phone it in. Because he was just generic bad guy in these movies. I want treasure. I want money. Like, nothing interesting about him. And Antonio Banderas, he's been a bad guy before. And he's not bad. And he's not a bad actor. It's just, yeah, he phoned it in. They definitely set up for a sequel, which I probably won't watch. Unless they do like a time jump or something, and he's an older actor, because I can't do Tom Holland. He was just playing himself in this. There's no blood either, which Uncharted isn't bloody, but there's blood. You know, there's people get shot. This isn't like Uncharted isn't like PG-13. Like it's not super hard R, but it's not like light PG-13 either. It just didn't do it for me. But if you look at it like if you're a normie and you don't know fuck all about Uncharted, or even if you're a fan but you could separate it and just look at it like maybe you change the names in your head or whatever, it's a mad to whatever to okay action movie, you know, or passable action movie. If you just take out like the names and it's just look at it as its own thing, it's a passable action movie that you can maybe put on in the background. For me, it doesn't work that way. I'm probably never gonna watch this again. I immediately, when I got back, watched the Nathan Fillion fan film. But yeah, 5 out of 10, not the worst thing in the world, but I'll never watch it again. But let's get to Constantine. So Constantine came out in 2005, and I remember when it came out. I saw it like a year later, if I remember. And it was really good. And Keanu played the role very well. I understand, I think a lot of people who didn't like it were probably like the actual fans of the character, and they felt like one, they didn't like his look. They felt like it was just Keanu in a fucking trench coat, but I felt like Keanu did it perfect. Yeah, he may not have been like the looks like the character from the show, from the comics, but I think he played the role very well. They explained how demons work perfectly. Um, Rachel Wise as Angela was solid. Yeah, she was just a cop, but I'm always down to see Rachel Wise and stuff, especially at this time period. Um, you have the one dude is Midnight. You might I can't pronounce his name, but he's in like a lot of fucking movies. Um, but it's a solid movie. I think the action was really good. It's paced perfect. Some of the CGI isn't great, but it's done fine. I think in some scenes, it's actually CGI is really good. I really like the scene where he's walking through hell. I think they do that pretty good. Out of 10, I would give this movie like a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think it's a dope little action flick. I love comic book films that don't just feel like a traditional comic book film. So, and I feel like this is one of those. It's almost like Hellboy in that sense, where it doesn't feel like you're just watching a regular, even at that time period, regular comic book movie. But other than that, I'm gonna kick off the review. So the movie kicks off with in Mexico. This guy finds in this I think abandoned church the spirit Christ, and it basically possesses him. Um, and I'll admit, and I get what they were trying to set up, but I feel like this, if I had any criticism, I feel like it was his parts. He was just kind of, they would, like, throughout the film, they would cut, to him walking through. And they only did that a couple times, but then they don't show him actually, like, they show him arrive at the place, but then that's it. I don't know. I just felt like they could have easily had done that, maybe done it with somebody else. It just because I felt like his scenes, it's almost like it takes me out of the movie. It's like anytime like any other person's on, it works, but when I'm on him, it's almost like, okay, am I watching something different? But whatever. But then the movie really kicks off. We meet John Constantine, and he's exercising this girl who has a demon possessed her into her, and he is able to get the demon out, put it in a mirror, and smashes it. And he works with his assistant, basically sidekick. I think the character's name is Chad, played by Sam, basically Sam Witwicky, aka Shia LaBeouf. I think Shia LaBeouf's pretty decent in this. This was at that time period. Shia LaBeouf was like in everything, but he almost was that kind. Even in the Bayformers movies, he pretty much was that too. Like he was like a sidekick to a badass character. He was a sidekick to the Transformers in that. In this, he's a sidekick to Keanu, and I like that they don't overuse him in this movie. Because I feel like if they had did this movie now, they would overuse him. Like they use him enough to where it doesn't get annoying, you know. But it was a solid, like he's a solid character. So after exercising the girl, he tries to talk to the angel, half-breed angel Gabriel, who's clearly androgynous. Like I think it's a female actor, but yeah. And he's trying to convince her, because he has a few days, like either a couple of days, or she's dying soon, essentially. And the good deeds he does is he basically kills bad people in exchange for keeping him alive. But Angel Gabriel basically tells him that that it won't work. because they say he basically tells them his motives are selfish. Um, then after that scene, and this is where we meet Angela, who's a cop who's investigating her sister's death, who seemingly kills herself, but she doesn't think she does because her sister, twin sister, she's basically playing herself essentially. Her twin sister, um, is they're both Catholic, so in that religion, you can't kill yourself or you go to hell, basically, and that's kind of what the movie was talking about. I like her character. I think her character was solid. You know, um, I always love Rachel, especially in this time period. You know, this was after she had done The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. So, but then yeah, after talking with Gabriel, he gets attacked by a demon, um, in the public. He meets with Papa Midnight, who this actor he plays in like everything. Like he was in Guardians. He's like a character actor often. And asked him to use the electric chair, but um, and then we meet Baltazar, who's I would kind of call the secondary villain, and I'm gonna explain that in a little bit. Papa Midnight is supposed to be um, neutral and can't get involved in either side. Um, and Angela goes to Constantine's house or apartment and asks him for help, but he turns her down initially because there's a scene where she's watching the video of her sister's suicide, and she's before she jumps says Constantine's name, so that's what prompts her to go to Constantine. Um, but after she turns her down, Constantine kind of like has this feeling because he can basically sense demons. Follows her down. This is where he shows her that demons are real. Um, and then this is where, after that, he basically tells her that God and Lucifer and a proxy war. He explains it very well. Like I love it. This like up until for a while, these movies, especially like movies with like giant concepts, knew how to explain the concept without being like overly complicated. They explained it without like obviously treating the audience like it's retarded, but it also like explained it to where it wasn't like super convoluted and you can't follow it. So he goes into that story, and he basically says that the demons and angels can't actually do anything in to influence humans, so they have to like do other stuff to influence humans. Um, so um, Keanu basically has like two uh like almost like a little team, not a team, but like he has his own two little, like you have Chad, like who's his driver, but you have Father Hennessy, and then Beeman, Beeman's like the tech guy who kind of gives him his weaponry, which I love some of his weaponry in this movie. Um, they theorize, Beeman and Hennessy theorize that Mammon, that Baltazar is trying to take over Earth. You know, and I think they do. I like that also. This isn't like your typical takeover. I mean, it kind of is that. It's kind of, but they don't make it like your traditional one. It's not just, oh, invading force invades Earth. You know, they do it like it's still a story being told. So Baltazar starts killing uh, Constantine's friends. First kills Father Hennessy. Um, um, basically drowns because Father Hennessy drink. He's a drinker, and he and Balthazar plays a trick like he's not like anytime he tries to drink alcohol, like it freezes, isn't like drinking it, but he actually is. So he actually ends up dying of alcohol poisoning, or alcohol poisoning slash drowning. And then he kills Beeman with bees while Beeman basically tells him like the information, and Angela and Constantine. Oh, I think I missed out on one major scene. There's a scene where Constantine to go to hell, they have to basically go get in a bottle, basically a thing of water, and water is like the portal. And this is where he goes and sees Isabella. So that was a really cool scene. I like the set, the aesthetic. Yeah, I think that whole scene was like CGI, but it was solid CGI from where I was watching. It didn't look like it wasn't amazing CGI, but it was done fine. So after Angela and Constantine arrive too late, Constantine makes like a new weapon. This is where he gets like this cool looking gun, and then goes to the mental hospital where Angela's sister is, and this is where it's revealed that that Angela and Isabella have a gift to be able to see demons, and that's what Constantine has, and that's what caused him to commit suicide. So, and I really love this movie just because of that. Like the way they explain this stuff, and the way Rachel Weisz played this character, I think did it really well. And basically, she basically admits that she pretty much threw her sister under the bus, like when her parents, because she would run to her parents and say she was seeing demons and say like, "Oh, Angela sees them too," but she acts like she didn't. And yeah, it's such a it's a good like almost redemption story, and this is when you can write characters and have them make mistakes and not just be Mary Sue's all the time. And so um there she finds a secret message that her sister left for her, like on the window, that like only she knew. Then he Bill's takes Angela to a bathtub because she says she's ready to see hell. Um, and they don't show her actually in hell, but they show her like freaking out in the water. Um, they leave to find Balthazar. He leaves her in the car, but and gives her this thing as kind of good luck. Then they kiss for a second, and then he goes up and basically fights Balthazar and kills him. This kill scene was pretty cool. Um, and then this is where it's revealed the guy brings the spear, which he's the only part of the movie he just felt thrown in there. Like he just felt like, oh, I'm just gonna like every time they cut to him, it just felt like almost jarring. But so after beating yeah, he interrogates Balthazar and then kills him. But then Angela gets taken by Mammon, or an unseen force takes her. Um, he goes to Midnight's club and basically forces um, Midnight to let him use the electric chair. Um, they it basically tells him what's going. It almost like fills him in what's going on. Then he gets some bullets and some weapons, and then basically goes and tries to save Angela. And then this is where it's revealed that Gabriel is actually the bad guy. The way my issue with how they do these type things, they did this in Suicide Squad and a couple other movies where you don't reveal the bad guy until like halfway or later in the movie. The issue with doing that is you don't have someone carrying the plot. Like Baltazar to me just kind of he was generic. I think he was another kind of weak aspect. He was just generic bad guy in suit. I thought the scene where he killed for um the father was kind of brutal. But besides that scene, I never he just didn't do it for me. He was just kind of he felt like a stooge. And then Gabriel was fine and definitely hateable. But it just the issue with doing bad guys like this, reviewing the real bad guy halfway or at the end of the movie, it's now like you don't have something carrying the story. But she was fine. And she basically wants to use the war for herself to for God's love. Um, and Angela throws Constantine and is about to stab Angela. The son of the devil shows up. Son of Lucifer or Lucifer shows up. And this I can't think of the actor's name, but I've seen him in a couple of movies. And actually, for the small bit in this movie he is in, he's really good. He carries the scene instantly, like, and I love actors like that, like who can like the moment they show up, even if it's just for fucking 10 minutes, you know, carries the room instantly. His like scenes with Constantine were great. Um, Constantine tells Lucifer before Lucifer is about to take him that Gabriel is fucking with things. Um, so after confronts Gabriel tries to attack Lucifer, but no longer has their powers because God basically lost. She lost the favor of God. She becomes human, and then John gets one favor from the devil, and he asks her for Isabel. I not Isabella, sorry. Asks Isabel to go to heaven. He does, and then punches out Gabriel and leaves with Angela. Gives Angela the spear and leaves with it. Um, and then the movie ends pretty much. This is a solid movie. I really like it. I think it's not a traditional comic book movie. Like, I'll admit, it's not the most action heavy movie. Like, there's action scenes in this movie, but it's not it's not like Blade. You know, Blade had like action like for days, especially Blade 2. But this was more of like there was action, but this was more of a story movie, and I think they told their story really well. Keanu Reeves was great as John Constantine. I love Rachel Weisz in this movie. Her story with her and her sister is really good, and the whole reveal that she also has it is done well. The only aspects like I only have a few negatives. The random dude with the spear who got possessed is just not needed. I honestly think they should have just had Balthazar get the spear himself or something. It just, or maybe even like someone who works for him. That would have been my only tweak. Maybe like he has somebody who works for him and he sends him to get it. Because this random guy bringing him to him wasn't. Because every time they cut to him, it just felt like you're for no reason. Like that scene could have been, you could have just used that whole scene and done something else or done more with Angela or with Constantine. It just, or even with Gabriel. Maybe there should have been a scene where maybe the audience knows Gabriel's the villain, but I just felt like Gabriel's another one. It's not horrible, but it just you because they didn't build them up as a villain, that it just throws me off. And but besides that, that's like my only few gripes. Other than that, I really enjoy it. I think there's a lot of good. The actor who plays Papa Midnight, who he's in a lot of shit. He's a great he's another great character actor. So but I definitely recommend this movie if you like Keanu Reeves. He's really good in this. He's like a really good badass type of character. I would love a sequel where maybe it's a time jump. Both him and get Rachel Weisz back. She still does. She was granted the movie was shit and I didn't watch it, but the Black Widow movie. So she can still do stuff. So I would say get her back. Have her, be in this movie, be in Constantine too. So I'd be open for a sequel, especially since Keanu's been kind of bringing back some of his other movies. So I'm open to that. If you were to bring something back, I'm open to that one. But other than that, I really enjoyed this movie, and I heavily recommend it. And yeah, it's not gonna be the most. It's not the most action heavy action. It's not the most action heavy movie, but it's a solid story. So, but other than that, I am gonna cheers one more time. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck La Bitch James. Fuck Colin Kaepernick. Fuck Seth Rogen. Fuck Joy Reid and fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.